Hello! So, what are the innovative points of the new Tiếng Anh textbook series, especially compared to the previous ones? Let's find out in this video. According to Professor Hoàng Văn Vân, Chief Editor of the textbook series, there are 12 innovative points. First, the series adheres to the principles and the contents as required and specified in the Ministry of Education and Training's 3 pilot English curricula for Vietnamese schools. The series is developed based on a multi-component approach. It takes theme or topic as the starting point. The development of 4 macro skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing as the focus, and other components such as linguistic elements of pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar, and intercultural aspects as the means to be taught. The series lays special emphasis on 2 oral skills, listening and speaking at primary level. These skills are decreased gradually at lower secondary level, so that at upper secondary level, equal attention is paid to all the 4 macro skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Next, the series is organized around the topics familiar to Vietnamese students and are suited to their age. Besides, the development of the series is based on the time frame allocated in MOET's 3 pilot English curricula for Vietnamese schools. You can now pause the video to take a look at the table to see how many periods are spent on teaching, on reviews, tests, and reserves. Next, the number of teaching units and the number of review units of the textbook series are explicitly designed. Again, you can pause the video here to look at the table and study how many units there are in each book in the series. Another new point is that the structure of a learning unit in relation to the allocated teaching time is clear. Again, now you can pause the video to look at the table and study how many lessons there are in each unit and how much time is spent on each lesson in a unit. The number of learning units, the components and component headings of a learning unit, the number of periods for each heading are clearly designed to help teachers use the textbooks easily and effectively. But we'll look at that in more detail in the next video. For now, let's move on to the next point, which is the 10 years English textbook series chooses British accent for recording. Teachers' books were also written in English and were integrated with the students' books. This is a very distinctive point compared to the previous series. And don't forget that the new textbooks have eye-catching layout and high-quality images, and is printed in 4 colors. Last but not least, the textbooks are evaluated by MOET's National Evaluation Council, consisting of experts on English education, both in Vietnam and abroad. Experienced and highly qualified school teachers of English. So, above are the 12 innovative points of the new textbook series. Find out more in the read section below if you are interested. See you again in the next video.
In this extra part of the video, we will continue to learn more about the innovative points of new textbooks. This has been discussed briefly in the first part of the video, but in this part, we will expand on these points, so that you will understand them more clearly. For more information, you can go to the article given on the screen, which was written by the chief editor of the textbooks himself. But the summary of his article is provided in this part of the video for your reference and convenience. In the first video, we learned that renovations at the meso level take place in the curriculum, as well as the textbooks. It is true that in the renovation of teaching and learning, the writing of textbooks is a component of special importance. This is because textbooks are agents of change. They have direct impact on the teacher's teaching methodology, and the students' learning styles. And, if properly used, they can not only contribute directly to the effectiveness of the teaching and learning process, but also provide an excellent vehicle for effective long-lasting change. Being aware of the importance of writing new English textbooks for the new National 2020 project, the Ministry of Education and Training assigned the Vietnam Institute of Educational Sciences with the task of organizing the development of the 10-year English textbook series for Vietnamese schools. At the same time, the Ministry of Education and Training signed decisions to appoint a chief series author, chief grade authors, and authors for 3 levels of education: primary, lower secondary, and upper secondary. Work on the design and development of the 10-year English textbook series began in mid of the second half of 2010. By the end of 2012, the primary English authors completed writing English 3, English 4 and English 5. And these were sent to 92 selected primary schools throughout Vietnam to try out. However, in face of the urgent need to upgrade the 10-year English textbook series to regional and international standards, the Vietnam Education Publishing House found it a must to collaborate with international publishing partners. The result was that 2 collaborative agreements between the Vietnam Institute of Educational Sciences and 2 world-leading publishers were signed, one with Macmillan Education for developing primary English textbooks, and the other with Pearson Education for developing lower secondary and upper secondary English textbooks. This is an important innovative point in foreign language textbook development in Vietnam. For the first time, a Vietnamese publisher took the initiative lead to find foreign partners for collaboration on the basis of equality, mutual benefit in all aspects such as management, expertise and financial investment. The second innovative point worth noting is that, unlike the development of the English textbook series under the English curriculum for Vietnamese general education, in the development of the 10-year English textbook series under the 2020 project, the Ministry of Education and Training appointed a chief series author. The mission of the chief series author was to study carefully the 3 pilot English curricula, proposed principles for textbook development, and, in collaboration with the chief grade author, and the authors of each grade, and the authors of the 2 collaborative publishers, design the structure of the textbook for each grade, the structure of each learning unit, and the structure of each lesson. Determine the contents related to language skills, language knowledge, and intercultural knowledge. The degrees of difficulty of the knowledge and skills at each level and each grade, and the level of skills and knowledge required to be achieved at each grade and at each level. And coordinate the writing activities of the textbooks, to create the consistency and continuity of language knowledge, language skills, and cultural knowledge between grades and levels of the whole textbook series. This helps create the continuity between grades and levels in the whole general education system, avoiding the fracture in approach, in levels of language knowledge and levels of language skills, which often happened in the previous 7-year English textbook development, where each level of the general education, such as lower secondary and upper secondary, had a separate chief series author. The third innovative point is that the development of the 10-year English textbook series can be seen as a cross-cultural collaboration between Vietnamese authors and those of the two collaborative publishers. Over 3 years of working together, this partnership has proved to be very effective. It has succeeded in combining local expertise and experience in textbook writing of the Vietnamese authors with international expertise and experience in textbook development of native English authors. In this form of accidental Oriental collaboration, it has succeeded in incorporating both the values of Vietnam and those of the world in the textbooks. It is challenging to the Vietnamese authors, but it helps them improve their professional skills and broaden their horizons in the development of English textbooks in the context of integration. It is challenging to the authors of the two collaborative publishers, but it helps them gain more experience and understand that English textbooks written by outsiders, in order to serve specific learning objectives of the educational system of a particular country, as they often do and think, are entirely inappropriate, especially when we live in an interactive and interdependent world, where one country does not depend on the other in a certain academic field. These three innovations in the process of textbook writing have led to the innovative points in the textbooks as a result. Do you remember them? Let's try a quick quiz to see if you do. Complete the sentences below to see if you remember and understand these innovative points. They were all discussed in the first part of the video. Have you finished, and are you ready to check your answers? Take a look at the answer key, and note that the words to fill in are in red in the answer key. To sum up, after this video, I hope you've learned that both the process and the outcome of writing the new textbooks demonstrate innovative points. These points are important to keep in mind, as understanding them is the first step towards renovating your own teaching methods and techniques as well. See you in the next video.